What socks have you got on?
Well, I've gone all grey. Everything is grey. Apart from shitting.
Shitting.
Shitting pink socks.
Are we just going straight in?
Ooh.
Why are you being an owl?
Don't know. Seize them. What seize them? It's interesting.
Are we powering Peter?
This is the beginning of it, actually, because this is quite dull.
Wow.
24 weeks in and the truth finally comes out.
Imagine what our listeners feel like.
Okay, this suddenly became the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. This is your Popcorn Pundits
Podcast.
Nikki and Mickey. What
Yes.
week is it?
24.
24.
And today's date is...
It is the April the 12th today.
Thursday.
13th, 14th and 15th.
So just remember, we're doing something on Friday, aren't we?
That's right.
And the date of that is the...
12th.
So Thursday is...
Will be
So today
Thursday.
is the... It will be Thursday. Brilliant. Okay,
There you
perfect.
go. So this is your Popcorn Pundits. This is your weekly microscope over what's going on in cinema world.
Yes.
That's what it is. Myself, Peter and Nikki like to encourage you to go to the cinema, put some money in those cinema tills and keep the cinema going, because you will honestly, you will miss it when it's gone.
And you might even find James in a toilet.
Yeah, well, we by-handedly kept the cinema going this week, didn't we?
We did.
Not single-handedly, by-handedly,
Yes.
because we both went
Both
independently.
hands. We went in with both hands.
With both hands, yeah, exactly right. And we went a lot.
We went skiing.
Yes.
Anyway.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to do the countdown from 10 to 1 for
You
this
are.
week's top 10 of movies.
That's right.
Obviously, this is an Easter holiday one.
So you've got to take that into consideration. don't
Yeah, so the top 10 has changed ever so slightly, and then we're going to review the films which we've seen. Do you want to tell our loving audience what you've seen, or we're going to do it as we go through?
I think we should do it after the top 10.
I think we should do it after the top 10.
Okay, in
That's
that
what I
case,
think.
Number 10
Yes.
is Luca.
It's a 2021 Disney film.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Do you know anything about it? You are the queen
It's
of Disney.
made by Disney.
Yeah, and it's called Luca.
He's a sea monster and he befriends some humans.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it like a Pixar thing?
Pixar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Wicked Little Letters.
Hey!
Number 8 is Seize Them!
Seize them!
Exclamation mark.
Right.
Or Size Them, depending on
Yeah,
your
size
level of
them.
dyslexia.
So this one is set in the Dark Ages. The Queen becomes a fugitive in her own land and must face hardship and danger as she embarks on a voyage to basically get her throne back.
Right.
British?
This is The Crown?
It is British. It's got a lot of British comedy acting icons in
Really?
it. Lolly Alafopi,
Right.
Paul Kay,
Yeah.
James
Peter's
A.
brother?
Castor, Nicola, I can never say her name, Clochlin
Yeah.
from Bridgerton,
Right.
and Nick Frost.
No.
And in a twist of fate,
Yep.
yes, on the day that we're recording today,
Yes.
which is technically Tuesday the 9th, it is the 20th anniversary of Shaun of the Dead.
No.
It was released
20 years ago.
April the
Shaun of
9th,
the Dead.
2004.
That was a very slick little segment you did.
I like
Thanks.
that.
It's not my
Don't
first,
sound so surprised.
it's not my
No,
first
but-
rodeo, Peter.
No, I wasn't expecting that little twist at the end. But I'm
Reads
actually
on the
really
radio and
impressed by that.
I
everything.
will
She's
be
very-
honest, you did look very shocked. Anyway, number 7.
Oh my
It's those
gosh.
ever-flying birds.
What's this about then?
Apparently, it's
Duck
all to do
on a
with passport customs
Oh, is
and
it?
rubber gloves.
Excellent.
Yep.
In that order.
Number 6 is The First Omen. This is a new film, isn't it?
It's a brand new film
Yeah.
by Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who
I
would've
know,
thunk
I
that?
love it.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Number 5 is Monkey Man.
Yes. That's by Universal Pictures.
Yes.
That's not so weird.
Not so weird.
It's not so weird.
Number 4 is June the 2nd.
Yep. Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Not so
Why are
weird.
we doing this? Why is this a new thing?
I don't know. I'm
I
getting
don't
very
think we need
excited.
to add this to the
I can't if I
podcast.
like
Okay.
it or not.
I dislike it.
Yeah.
Number 3. It's the only thing I get to do. So just let this be about me, just for a
That's
little
how he's
bit.
doing it.
How about it? Ghostbusters Frozen Empire number 3. Number 2, Godzilla X Kong / The New Empire by Warner Brothers. And number 1, Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah! Hit me, baby, one more time.
I'm going to walk off.
It's taken 24.
So number 1 is Kung Fu Panda, obviously because it's half term.
Yeah.
No, because Jack Black's amazing.
I have heard this film's actually quite good.
It's got Jack Black in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it was Nikki that said it.
Who's got it, Nikki?
I think there's someone called Jack Black in it.
Okay, well,
I'm
I'll
not
watch
sure though. Don't quote me on it.
Okay.
So, that's your top 10 at the UK cinemas at the moment.
As of the 8th of April, I2024.
And what's good that's come out of this is that I didn't know anything about Sesame, so thank you very much,
Oh,
Nikki.
we've not even seen a trailer for that.
No, I'm very excited about it now.
Yeah, so it does. Well, with the cast, it would suggest that it is quite Shaun of the Dead-y.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, and I do like that sort of genre
Because
of film.
Nick Frost hasn't been in much recently, has he?
Oh, I don't know. He's in his
He's
one.
popped up occasionally.
Yeah, he does. I think there's the odd cameo ever so often. Yeah, that's it. And I think he's been in a few streaming television shows as well.
Oh, okay. Right, in that case, I will retract.
So there you go. So that is what's going on in the world of cinema. Now we're going on to our favourite films.
So how that top 10, James? What would you have gone to see this week?
Well, I'll tell you. Well, I may have gone to see the First Omen, and I may want to see Monkey Man. You've seen June the 2nd again. We've seen Ghostbusters, and we've also seen Godzilla as well.
Yeah, we've seen a good number of these this week.
We have
yeah,
indeed.
it's all right, isn't it? However, Late Night with the Devil isn't on there, is it?
It is not. No, to be fair though, those sort of horror movies, because it's quite a low budget, semi-independent movie, you need a lot of money injected into it to get that sort of widespread
And you
audience.
think it's that rather than the fact that they only show it at 9:30 at night.
One showing.
One showing.
I think that's
every
all part
screen.
of the. I think that's all part of the package.
They're not going to be in the top 10 ever,
No,
are they?
And,
No, they're not.
and they only let one person in the cinema at the
Oh
time.
my god, we'll get to that later on. That was horrific. Absolutely horrific.
So before we get on to the new films, we've got a segment where Peter's going to talk about a film that we reviewed already, but now he's seen it.
Oh, this is my catch-up segment.
This is your Peter's catch-up segment. Ba-ba. That's
I
it.
knew
That's
this was going to be the best theme tune of the night.
Yeah.
Love it. So I went to see Late Night with the Devil,
Yes.
and I went to see it at 9:30 last night,
Yes.
and I sat in the cinema on my own.
Yes.
And like it was really dark, and then
Why is nobody else going to see this film? I don't get it.
because it's on at 9:30 at night, and most grown-up people go to bed at 9:45. So after the first 15 minutes, they'll be in the PJs. I shit myself because I've become more au fait with horror recently, and
You have.
I would suggest that I'm starting to grow an appreciation for horror, which was kind of there, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't kind of rush out to go and see a horror at the cinema. Now I'm getting really excited by the trailers which are appearing. I mean, we've got a film called Abigail, which looks like it's going to be
Looks so
fantastic
good.
moving forward. Anyway, so I listened to your review last week, and I thought
Because you were
actually-
sitting next to me.
What? Oh, I was supposed to be sitting next to you, yeah, but I vanished.
So yes.
So I sat in the cinema on my own, and literally, like the screen went dark and
Yes.
the lights went off, and I was sat in the cinema on my own about to watch a horror film.
Yes.
And I actually thought I was going to be murdered. it was a really uncomfortable feeling.
Do you know what? I think they should charge more for that service.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
It's like a false
I guess
4D cinema.
yeah.
Or team up with the NHS, and then you can have it's like a blood pressure check.
Oh yeah.
That's a good idea.
I wouldn't have made it through to Fortunately, just as the trailer's begun,
Yes.
3 other people walked in.
And you thought, thank goodness I'm not...
Sat
I'm just-
right next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in front of me.
Yeah, staring at you.
absolutely. Yeah, anyway.
Not blinking.
Or even behind you, even worse. Wouldn't
So we
it?
don't need to spend long on this, but I can just see why you gave this your big fat lady 0.9.
Yes.
It was such a you film. It was brilliant because it starts.
Yes.
And it feels kind of quirky, and it is that beautiful 1970s, like, you know, soft focus. And you get almost like halfway through the film, and you're kind of thinking, I don't know how this can become a horror.
I know.
Because it's so... I mean, you referred to it as... Someone referred to it as like Alan
Alan
Partridge
Partridge
goes to hell or whatever. And he's not quite Alan Partridge, because he's a bit more kind of professional than that.
Yes.
But the film does... It kind of just makes you feel sorry for him, like the whole way through it.
I agree.
And then when it gets horror-y,
Yes.
it's just brilliantly horror-y.
But don't you feel that it's got that sort of vintage feel to it as well?
Well,
Horror's got a vintage feel to it.
The director is clearly a 70s horror fan because the actual gore in it is comically poor gore.
Yeah.
But the actual possession horror in it is goosebump-makingly terrifying, and it's just sitting there. And there is one demonic possession scene where the character's appearance changes massively and levitates.
Yeah.
And that did make my testicles suck back up into my body.
Fantastic.
It was really, really very, very scary.
So I'm assuming you enjoyed the whole experience.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was really good.
Good. And we're recommending people for a really good scare because I think there's probably another week left in it.
Well, I mean, we had 4 people in my cinema, so I'm guessing it's not going to be there long. But it is a cinema experience,
100%.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really good.
Good.
So I gave it,
Yes.
a 7.5. I liked it. That's a like for me.
Yeah,
I don't love horror like you do, so I can't give it a big fat 9ish.
So many horror references all the way through. It's so clever.
Yeah, it was so clever. But to your generic cinema goer,
Yeah.
I think it's a 7.5.
So
It changes the score to an 8.2.
I'll take an 8.2.
Which is okay, I think,
I'm
isn't
happy
it? I mean,
with an
that's
8.2.
still right at the top of our
It is
leaderboard,
indeed, yeah.
and it's probably the smartest horror flick we've seen since we started doing the podcast. I would say,
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree.
because it's original,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
and everything else we've seen hasn't been original. It's been a remash of everything else.
Yeah.
But this had me guessing where it could possibly go.
Good.
Right from the beginning until
It's a very
20
unusual
20 from the
concept
end.
to the whole film, and I mean, it's not a brand new story, and this sort of story's been done over and over again, where somebody comes onto the stage, they pretend they're not, they everybody's impression that they're not possessed, and of course they are, and it all kicks off and so on and so forth. So these things aren't you're not reinventing the wheel, but the way that it was put together was very, very clever.
Very clever because the writers have chosen bits of different panel shows from different different stations and different countries, put them all together to create this one thing, which just really works.
And also there is a familiarity with its format, particularly being a late night television show that makes you feel comfortable. So then you were taken off guard.
Yeah,
when the
totally.
horror arrives, so that works really, really well.
Yeah,
as well.
because your point of comfort in this actually isn't the main star; it's his assistant on stage, isn't it? Really,
Absolutely,
that's kind of like your anchor.
It's the anchor to the band, isn't it? And he's,
yeah.
Fantastic! I'm really, really, really pleased you went to see it at the cinema.
The other thing which is quite nice about it, because 9:30 start time for a film is quite a daunting thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
It only runs for 1 hour 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So like the whole thing is done and dusted.
Bish bash bosh.
Yeah, literally just in time for Coco.
Perfect. Good stuff. Well, there you go. So we are encouraging you to go and see Late Night with the Devil at the cinema. If not, get it on streaming as soon as you can.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Friday night movie.
Friday night movie.
Friday night
Turn all
movie.
the lights off. No candles. No nothing.
Yeah.
Sit there and just expect for an hour that you're going to shit yourself for half an hour.
Perfect. Good stuff. Good. I'm really pleased. Right, there you go. So that's film number 1. We've got a full packed show tonight, so we're going to smash on with it.
Absolutely.
The second film we're going to be talking about is
Monkey Man.
Monkey Man. Now, I went to see Monkey Man last night. You went to see Monkey Man yesterday.
Last night.
Yeah. Early evening.
I double billed last night.
You did indeed.
I saw this at 10 minutes past 6.
Yes, you DP'd.
To a packed cinema.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was absolutely ramadama ding dong.
It's a big movie.
It's a lot to digest.
Yes.
It's directed, written, and starring Dev Patel.
What? I mean, who would have thought how talented he was? I mean, I've been following his progression as an actor for quite some time, and he's able to play sort of quite different roles, and but I've never seen him do an action movie like this. I've never seen him so invested into a role like this, and I have to give him some kudos.
So this took me right back to Slumdog.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean, his acting and everything. But yes, he has henchimificated in this. I mean, he is ripped.
Yeah,
And
and what I like about it, he's not overly. He's not gone down the bodybuilder route. He's not turned into Dwayne Johnson.
No, he's lean.
He's lean as McLean, and
Lean and sinewy,
he is.
as you'd
He's Bruce
expect
Lee.
an Indian Bruce Lee to be.
Exactly.
Bruce Lean.
Bruce Lee, Jesus. Perfect.
Oh,
Love
thanks.
that.
Thank you, Nikki. That's
okay.
that's what she gets the big bucks for.
Exactly.
Hang on, wait. What's this about big bucks?
It's in the post.
Thanks.
So, would you like to give us the storyline for Monkey Man, please, Mr. Peter?
Yeah, I would suggest that we're maybe in Bombay or like one of the major Indian cities. I don't think it actually tells us which one it is.
No, but you get the general gist, don't you? It's going to be...
The feeling of the start of this movie is frenetic.
Yes.
It is. It's almost hard to keep up with the hustle and the bustle. And basically, Dev Patel's character is a very poor man who basically scrapes a living together by getting the living bejesus kicked out of him in an illegal fight club.
Yes.
And
wearing
he
a monkey mask.
By wearing a monkey, yes, not by wearing a monkey mask. His character chooses to wear a monkey mask,
That's right.
and he gets beaten up by a snake. And there's this South African kind of ringmaster who leads you into believe that this is a dark and sinewy, dirty.
He's a fantastic
lifestyle.
actor, actually. He did that fantastic film in South Africa, but in reference to the aliens as well.
I have not seen that.
Very,
I looked at
very
his bio
Yeah.
today before we did this,
Yeah.
and I didn't really recognise anything on it.
Open Grave is very
knew
good.
you would
Open
have seen
Grave
a
is
few things, 'cause,
fantastic, yeah.
but he's a great character. Anyway, Dev Patel. Other than wearing a monkey mask,
Yes,
they reference the fact that he's got really scarred hands, kind of regularly right from the beginning of this, and he's basically just trying to get by in life and trying to, make his way and make enough money to survive.
He's very focused, but he's overly focused to the point where he's not really... The winning is not really that important to him. He's literally just surviving on that money, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so it becomes apparent that there is a history to Dev's life, and then he basically finds a way that he can make his way back to get to the people that did bad against his family members in his history.
Yeah.
So he gets a job at a hotel where the rich and famous of India, and it's not even rich and famous. It's kind of like
It's the underground seedy
Yes.
sort of money making subculture of India.
exactly right. Yeah, it's the wealthy subculture of
Absolutely.
India. That's exactly what it is.
And it's illegal. It's dirty. There's drugs. There's guns. There's prostitution. There's all sorts of things going on
all
there.
the good stuff going on.
All the stuff that you pay extra for when you're on
Exactly
holiday.
right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. And basically, he makes his way into that world, gets himself promoted through it to put himself in a position of their confidence,
That's right.
and then it kicks the hell off.
I mean, it's a very, very simple revenge movie where you've got the lead character, and you know very well, it's not, they give little snippets, certainly all the way through, little breadcrumbs of little flashbacks of things happening to his mom.
Exactly.
And sort of,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It doesn't give it away completely, but it's very aware, you're very, very aware that it's a very driven character, willing to sacrifice almost everything, earn nothing, but get his way to the top to the point where he's going to confront the people that did bad to his mum.
Exactly right. And the whole way through this, there are also little flashes towards this religious story
That's right.
of a monkey prince who is basically done against, and the religious story mirrors
That's right.
Dev Patel's character through the film.
That's right.
And it's done really quite nicely, isn't it? It's a really lovely way of telling a story.
To me, it was a pleasant surprise. I was expecting to see a John Wick. I was expecting to see even an Equalizer. I was expecting to see that sort of basic idea of revenge and redemption, and then there was nothing else involved. I was expecting it to be a very shallow movie when it came to that.
So this...
It's not.
It's not shallow.
Not at all.
However, it is clearly Dev Patel's homage to his life of loving movie,
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you came out... You've got a list of films on here, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So should we do a film off? Should we just? I mean, I've got four that
Okay.
it kind of there are direct links with this
Yes.
film. So Karate Kid.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Absolutely.
Yep. The whole training montages. the getting back at the baddies, that sort of thing. Having a mentor to put to one side.
100%.
Yeah, you need all that.
For me,
Kung Fu Panda. Four.
Has that got Jack Black in it?
Yeah, apparently so. Okay, I will see your Karate Kick, and I will give you kick, and I'll give you Dread.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And
Floor by floor.
Yeah.
Constant mayhem.
I will take you to your top floor.
Yeah.
And I'll throw back at you Kill Bill.
Ooh, that's a very good word.
There is a. Because the support network for Monkey Man is brilliant in this, isn't it?
And there's elements of comedy within it, which is there's some very funny moments in it. There's elements of cultural. What I really like, he uses the Indian culture as a backdrop to the story, but also you learn certain things as well, I think, and I think it was, and there's lots of cliches about the underworld and the pickpockets and that sort of thing, and it really takes you on a lovely journey in reference to that as well.
Well, if you watch the first 20 minutes of the movie and the last 20 minutes of the movie, you would not think there was a bit in the middle which joined them.
No, I agree.
I don't think, because the
it's
beginning
very serious at the end.
Yeah, and at the beginning it is very Slumdog. It's basically kind of creating that environment and everything.
Absolutely.
So the next film that I would reference is John Wick, because because it's
all of it.
I mean they reference it right at the beginning, and he kills in a very John Wick style.
He knows exactly what he's done. I mean, as a director, they even met, as you said before. There's a great big wall of weaponry, and the other character says, "Oh, it's a bit like John Wick," and you go, "Perfect. You've got that out of the way. There was an elephant in the room. You've addressed it. Let's carry on."
Yeah.
Another film I would reference to would be Old Boy, which you haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen it.
Which
no.
you're going to see, because if you've enjoyed Monkey Man, you're going to love Old Boy.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so for those of you out there listening, or those of you who've seen Old Boy, you're going to love Monkey Man. For those of you who go and see Monkey Man and you enjoy it, watch Old Boy at home as well. Seriously, there's so many there are so many references all the way through it, and Old Boy is one of those beautiful South Korean classic movies that everybody has to see, but you'll be seeing.
Oh, wicked. Okay, fabulous. So, I don't really remember Dev Patel actually saying anything in this film, and he did say stuff
once or twice. Ever so often, there was little moments of clarity, I think, but it was mainly.
But it was kind of the other characters like talking was kind of to set up film, wasn't it? Really, yes. I mean, I think
the female head baddie, she was deliciously evil.
She was so bad,
wasn't she?
She was so bad,
and she did it so well. And she had that sort of class system thing going on as well. So she was upper class in the Indian society. And she portrayed that so well. And her disgust for everybody else. And her venomous. And the fact that she was quite happy to kill anybody in front of her. Worked really well for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Go on. I do have something that I want to add, but you carry on.
We're making this film sound brilliant.
We are,
and there is a something about this film.
Oh, is there?
Which is that it's not brilliant. I found it really clumsy the way that it was put together. I can't quite put my finger on what I mean by that. But there was just certain bits where I just kind of got to an end of a scene. I was just kind of like, really?
See, I disagree. I felt like it was an organised tussle down the stairway. So basically, it was like a one-man band falling down the stairs, and it was going bish, 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 bish. But there was there's certain beauty with it. I understand the chaos, and I understand the clumsiness with it, and I understand the fact that it was certain scenes were kind of clumped together, and it got a little bit messy about 3/4 of the way through the story, which a lot of films do anyway. But it ended so well. And did you notice the underlying story all the way through was to do with violence towards women in India?
No.
All the way through it, it was all to do with violence towards women in India, and there was a very poignant moment, pretty much near the end, where they were actually, and I'll probably have to look at some facts, and Nikki might be able to back us up next week on this. I'm pretty sure that they're using real footage of abuse at the end of the film as a political message.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I can understand that Dev Patel would do such a thing.
I hope that is the case.
I'll give you an example, because I thought the film was moving along marvellously.
Well done,
and
Dave.
And my reference to Karate Kid,
Yes.
I did feel the whole middle-aged transvestite men-women scene and the fight training was a little bit shoehorned in. It didn't kind of...
I think it needed it. I think
a bit of light. Is that...
But also, you needed that moment where you needed every film like this needs a montage of some kind, and that was the montage. And that, to me, if you're going to do a homage to jaw-breaking action fighting movies, there always has to be a montage somewhere in it. You can't not have a montage.
Yeah.
So I think that worked really, really well, and also the use of the trans culture within that. And it was they kind of tipped off it a little bit at the start of the movie, and then it came into full apparency near the end of the movie. And to show their subculture within the subculture, like there's so many layers within it, as warriors. I thought that was so beautiful.
Oh, it was brilliant. And also, I mean, they referenced the fact that the police don't go anywhere near them because they don't know what to do with them.
Exactly.
And it was it was quite clever like that. But yeah, I just found that kind of
I'd love to find out how many aspects of that film have direct references to real cultural moments.
Oh, well, we'll have to DM Dev Patel, won't we?
Well, or we might get our producer on the go. Anyway, so
check you PAing it out.
I know. So, has that affected your score?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you're going to score this differently to me.
I am going to score it differently, and I'm going to encourage as many people to watch this as possible.
Don't get me wrong, this is a really good film, but this could have been an excellent film, and for me it was just a good film.
Okay.
So I'm going to piss on your parade and give it 7.5.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm giving it 8.2.
Oh, we're not a million miles away, mate.
We're not.
We're gonna average like 7.8 or 7.9,
which I think is a fairly good score for a action beat 'em up.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
This movie isn't going to change your life.
No.
It's just going to improve your evening.
But I still stand by that. It's. I think watching it for the second or maybe the third time, I think it's going to be a lot more layered than people think it is initially.
Yeah, you're not going to pick up everything in this film in one viewing because
there's a lot going on.
A lot going on, and it is done at a bazillion miles an hour.
But don't you think it's
so
a fantastic debut director on his behalf? As a director?
I do, but I think he's done it in a very comfortable environment. And that's not a bad thing, but but it's...
Well done, Mr. Patel.
Yeah, well done.
Well done, Mr. Patel.
Awesome.
What's the score, Nikki?
7.85.
7.85. Good,
So what
good.
was 7.9 in that?
7.9, yeah.
7.9.
That's where it belongs to be. That's almost a big fat lady. That's brilliant.
Are we fact in?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. Due to budget cuts, multiple shots were filmed with GoPros and iPhones.
Which worked really well, I thought.
It was honestly, there were certain bits where you feel a little bit sick because it's so juddery, and
absolutely.
juddery because it's people running around and it's
And there's maybe 4 or 5 different styles of fight scenes that is cherry picked directly from other films, which I think is absolutely beautiful.
But that's what I mean. It's like his homage to his film viewing, like since he was a kid. It's
What else
so
you got for us,
why
Nikki?
did they need budget cuts? Why was that not
Just
heavily
said due to
produced?
budget cuts. Dev Patel began training in Taekwondo when he was 10 years old, and he earned a first Dan black belt in March 2006 at the age of 16.
Oh, he's
And then a year
could do it with his eyes closed.
A year later, he was in one of the greatest British TV programmes called Skins,
Oh yeah.
Of course he was.
which he then did a year later. He did,
Slumdog.
yep.
Yep.
And he is also in a film which is called The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which won an Oscar this year, which we mentioned.
Have you seen it?
For Best Live Action Short Film. And it stars Rafe Fiennes, Benedict Cumberbatch, Dev Patel, Ben Kingsley, Richard Aderwadi, and Jarvis Cocker.
Yes, it's by the same written by a famous English author.
Oh, but just the one.
He did Wonka.
The Twits. James and the Giant's Peak.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's the chronicles
Mr.
of a
DeHaar.
variety of stories, but the main one follows Henry Sugar.
Yeah, and I watched that briefly last week because it's a short. But I'm watching it the long way. You get it? Anyway,
We've
that was
had
lost.
we've had
Should have been lost.
we had an Instagram message.
Yes.
A couple of days ago saying, "Morning pundits, Tom here from Marlow FM. I'm off to see Monkey Man this afternoon. I will let you know my thoughts."
Ooh.
He has now sent me his thoughts,
And
he said, "Really good, man. The first, yeah, that was how he sounds.
that is exactly.
Is that how it sounds?
That's exactly how he
It actually
sounds.
is.
He sounds like a 21-year-old woman.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The
I thought it was like a fake
thanks.
Canadian.
You said I'm 21. Thanks.
You know, I did that. It was good, isn't
The
it?
first 30
Yes.
minutes were super
Flirt.
slow, but once you get into the nightclub, it's all action and fun from there.
Oh, I didn't find it slow at all.
Find this slow. How fast is his life?
I know. Or maybe he does
These
the
millennials.
young. He is
these
young,
millennials.
James.
Everything's so fast for them.
Maybe he does the opposite of Lawrence and he watches at half pace or something. But
Maybe.
yeah. Anyway, I think that's
At the
a.
cinema.
yeah.
Sorry, can you put it on half for me, please? So thank you
3-hour
for that, Tom, for your review.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Thomas.
appreciate that.
Very good DJ he is.
He is.
Oh yeah, if you need a DJ, go and see Tom.
Award-winning.
Award-winning. Right, so that is Monkey Man. So that's 2 films out of the way.
Yeah.
Third film. Dun, 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 dun.
So I tend to do. Oh no, third film.
Yes.
You're doing a third film.
I'm doing
I was
a
about
third.
to go on to homework.
You were.
Yeah, I was getting all ahead of myself.
You were.
That's one way to shut James
I
up.
was
Just
about to-
cut
I was
his
about to go-
work
Yeah, you know
completely.
the way I went very subservient until I was next talk.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm going to pull you back and put you back in your box. Not that box, Nikki. And,
So,
Lonely Island.
the First Omen.
yes,
The First Omen.
tell us all about it.
So the First Omen was released last week at the cinema. To me, it is one of the first films that is successfully prequeled the Omen series. There's been lots of other films that have tried it, not affiliating themselves completely with the Omen series. I think the Omen trilogy is a classic.
Yeah, because when you told me you were going to see this, I thought you meant you were going to see
the
the
First
First
Omen.
Yeah. And there have been quite a lot of films which have been re-released and put into the cinema.
There has been.
And then,
Yes,
yeah,
I went to The Lost Boys, for instance, last week,
cool.
which is, I had to say, a lot better at the cinema than it is on the television.
Did it date?
At home, yes, dated massively. On the cinema, weirdly not.
Did you go dressed as a lost boy?
Don't ask James things like that.
Might have done.
Hanging off a bridge?
Legally, I can't possibly comment. However, back to the First
Sorry.
Omen. First Omen, 1977 was the original film of the Omen, and so obviously this is set just pre to 1977. So we're delving back into the 1970s in horror franchise, which you highlighted last week, asking if this was going to be an ongoing thing, and I think it's kind of turning into that thing.
It's like people realising that was the best horror.
I think
period
they
of
may
time.
be right. Yeah. So it's the prequel to the Omen. The director is, how do you pronounce that? Arkasha Stevenson. He did Legion and also Vessels as well.
You've got very neat handwriting.
It's not mine. This is French handwriting.
I was just
PA
about
that
to
as well.
say,
Messing around.
Très bon, Sophie.
Exactly. So it is starring Nell Tiger Free, which she was out of Game of Thrones, and also stars Charles Dance and Bill Nighy.
Oh, right. Who was she in Game of Thrones?
She was somebody in Game of Thrones. I never watched Game of
I
Thrones.
didn't see the character.
Neil Tiger Free.
Okay.
Yep. Game of Thrones.
Isn't it Nell?
Possibly. Yep. Nell.
She was Mycella Baratheon.
Marcellus Wallace.
It's like one dyslexic leading another, honestly. It's
Mycella
painful.
Baratheon.
Baratheon.
I don't know. I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Right,
Oh,
let's get on
shit.
with the story, shall we? So, the First Omen. A young orphan, Margaret, moves... Now, sadly, okay... Margaret. Now, one thing that you need to be very, very aware of with this film.
Yeah.
This film, and I'd love to know which film was made first, okay? But this and The Immaculate are identical films.
No way.
Identical films. However, The First Omen did it a lot better.
Well, that's not hard, is it?
There's no bangers in this. There's a lot of flesh, but we'll come across that in a second.
Will we now?
We will indeed. All over it. Anyway, so legally or illegally. So there's a young orphan called Margaret, and that's played by Nell.
Yes.
So she's not that young. She's like probably mid-20s.
You like sticking to the 20s,
I
don't
have
you?
no idea what's going on.
And I appreciate
Anyway,
you pointing to me at that.
So she's a young orphan based in America that she goes to Italy to go to.
Shut
She
up.
does indeed to go for a convent in Rome in Roma in Italy.
Amazing.
Okay, and you get a little insight into her previous life while she was living in America, and she was sort of babysat by Bill Nighy because he was a cardinal in America. Okay, so before all this starts off, it's very important that you understand that what they've done in this film is they've very cleverly done beautiful little homages to every single death scene in the original Omen movie.
Oh, right.
Okay, I don't know how familiar you are with the original Omen movie.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? Carry on.
I say so. There are 5 key killings in the original Omen movie. So you've obviously got the famous one with the glass sheet cutting off the photographer's head. You've got the priest being kebabbed as well. You've obviously got the nanny jumping out. It's all for you, Damien. That sort of thing. All those scenes are pretty much recreated in this film.
Oh, wow, okay.
So you get a lovely sense of like I feel comfortable. This is the world that I'm used to. I'm quite happy here.
This already sounds a lot better than Immaculate.
Exactly. So she's transferred to this Italian convent, and she's under the protection of Bill Nighy, and he's moved over with her, and she's welcomed warmly, beautifully from all the nuns again. Oh, it's so lovely to see you, fantastic, etc., etc., etc. All very Italian accents, exactly as you can imagine.
Just like that.
Just like that. She and she's befriended by 1 or 2 other nuns because obviously the process of what she's going through. She's going to be doing her. She's going to be ordained as a nun. You see, and obviously this is a precursor for that. And there's a group of other nuns that are pre-ordained as well. So they're all chatting away, and they're all like young girls having a chat. Everything's great. One of the Italian pre-nuns turns around and goes, "Well, before we get on the habit, why don't we go out and have a party and everything's going to be great?" You see, because we're going to let her hair down a little bit, literally let her hair down. So they go out and party, they get dressed up. She's not used to getting dressed up, and she hints at the fact that she's had a bit of a checkered past. She was a bit of a bad person in the past. When she was younger, she had to be restrained a few times, mentally, physically, and emotionally by Knightley because she was misbehaving like she was a bad girl, just like Billie Eilish when she was younger. You bad girl. And so that's like pricks your ears up, and you think to yourself, interesting, okay. And so she goes out to a night. She goes out to this Italian nightclub with this Italian pre-nun, and she hooks up with they're hooking up with these Italian boys, and it's all very loud and nightclub, and you think to yourself, well, this is quite nice. Oh, you don't want that, do you? No. God. Anyway, so
You didn't.
it didn't turn off, did it? So anyway, sorry about that. I should have put it on airplane mode, shouldn't I?
You should have done.
We did ask you.
I did it. Did you?
Yeah.
We'll send you the minutes of the meeting last
Yeah,
week.
it's fine.
So she's in the nightclub, and it's obvious that the focus is on her as the film goes on. And then the next thing you see her in the morning, because she's been dancing with this boy. She's about to start. It all starts to get very exciting, and then she wakes up the next morning, and her roommate, obviously the Italian pre-nun, turns around and goes, "What a fantastic night we had last night. You were really brave." And as a consumer, they're going, "What the hell happened last night?" And I like that. It just gets the ears pricking up and so on. And during this time, she's noticed that there's another very young pre-nun, but she's been locked in a room. And they go, why is that young girl being locked in a room?
Who locks a nun in a room?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she said, she's a bad girl and she's been punished. And she said, well, I used to be a bad girl, and that used to happen to be. She takes it upon herself to be a little bit of a champion for this young. And it's obvious that you, as a consumer of the movie, you're looking at these things of, she's obviously the young nun is obviously bad trouble, and it's all going to kick off, and so on and so forth. I don't want to give too much away, to be quite honest with you.
So what happens after that? Just give us a brief kind of So we're at this time where there's a girl, there's a nun, a pre-nun,
Yes.
locked in a room.
That's right.
And then there's the American pre-nun outside of the room.
That's
pun.
right.
Championing the pre-nun.
Yeah.
Pun.
Exactly. So don't forget, we're in the world of Omen here as well, and we're in Italy, and this is before the Omen. So you know what's going to happen. You know that Damien is going to be born sooner or later.
Okay.
So without me giving too much away, I don't want to go too much further into the story. All I've got to say to you is that
Somebody fucked a nun.
it is very, very clever. The homages to the jackal within the movie is very, very clever, and it finishes off beautifully with this seamless scene where they physically get a picture of Gregory Peck out, and they go, "We found a new dad. He's going to be taking care of this, and we're going to call him Damien." And then all of a sudden, through the entire movie, the music, the chanting is very feminine all the way through, and it has that sort of a mirroring of the Omen movies. However, as soon as they mention Gregory Peck and Damien, the classic choir music comes in, and the hairs on your back goes, and you go, "Here we go." And I went home. We watched a late night showing of this, and we got home maybe at 11:30 at night. I immediately put on the original Omen movie to watch it, so I could have that seamless sync going from one movie into another.
Nice.
Yes. I don't know whether they made any more notes on this or not. There is a rather interesting aspect through the movie where Nell, every time she sleeps, her hair ends up looking like that. Okay.
Bedhead.
So,
I wouldn't know what that
so her
was.
hair literally turns into a spider.
And
on
James
the pillow.
does.
And it's not mentioned at all. And you look and you go, "That's really, really weird." But because it's not mentioned, it kind of keeps your activation floating, and very, very clever with that as well. The 70s vibe worked really, really well. Now, talking about flesh, so we mentioned with flesh in reference to Immaculate. Yes. There's no bangers. In fact, it's very, very clever because all the nuns are trestled up as nuns you would expect. There's no sexuality when it comes to that. But obviously, there's a little bit of flesh in reference to the conception of the Damien aspect, and there's one or two pre-births that I won't go into too much details about there at all. So there's a little bit of gore in reference to it as well. And the only fly in the ointment for me was that they used a little bit of CGI, and they didn't have to use any CGI at all.
It's a bad habit.
It's a bad habit.
Nikki, smart.
Yes.
You didn't.
That's what they're called, isn't it?
Excellent.
What the
well
nuns
written,
were.
well
Okay,
acted.
that's fine.
I can't believe you
And
did that.
I feel it's been made by people who truly love the original trilogy. That's what I feel.
So it's a good thing.
It's very good. I'm giving it a 7.2.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving it a 7.2, and
I would ask what we scored Immaculate, but I know I'm not allowed to do that anymore, so I'm not going to do that. I got told off last week.
So there you go.
Would you like some facts?
Yes, please.
So the first Omen film, in 18 years since the original Omen in 2000, since the Omen 2006, not the original, sorry.
Yeah.
However, the movie is set in 1971, which is just prior to the events
Right.
of the original Omen, which was from 1976. And then this bit could be a slight spoiler, but it's quite good. When Maggie arrives in Rome,
That's Nell.
the cardinal explains to her that there are popular riots between Italian citizenship, motivated among others by students who are dissatisfied with the state of the Holy Church. This is actually historically accurate. After the social revolution of Paris in May 1968, this was extended to other countries across Europe, and in Italy it lasted from 1969 to the late 1980s, and it was a period known in the country as the Years of Lead. There we go.
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned about the film before I went to see it, and all in all, very pleased.
It's got.
Is it a standalone movie, or has it just been created as a precursor to the original Omen?
In what reference? What do you mean?
So can you just go
What's
and
it
see it
based
as a
on?
film on its own?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's got a beginning, a middle and an end?
It's got a bidding. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does indeed. It's not just sitting on the laurels
Okay.
of the original, but it sinks in beautifully into it.
Okay, cool.
It's got a score of 7 on IMDb, and Monkey Man has a score of something else on IMDb, 7.3.
Yeah,
Do you not
perfect.
agree?
That's fair enough. I think that's good. I was just checking what I scored.
You fact checking me?
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Okay, so there you go. That is the First Omen. I do recommend people go and see it at the cinema.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't think
absolutely.
you sound as convinced as you're trying to portray it, if I'm totally honest with you. I don't think you...
No, do you know what I'm trying to do this time? I'm trying to stay focused on the story rather than get excited. Because when I get overly excited,
Yeah.
I sort of lose my breath and I just start losing
Yeah, but I like that.
I know. But
Why else do people listen?
it's, put it this way, it doesn't give me the glee that Late Night with the Devil does. But Late Night with the Devil is going to be a hard one to beat for a long time.
And also,
Interesting.
the Omen film is a 4th or 5th generation of
Yeah.
Omen
Absolutely.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so last week you set me a piece of homework, which was
I
to
did.
watch Perfume,
I did.
and I went home and I scoured the whole of the interweb for
Yeah.
it to stream, and it wasn't streamable anywhere.
It
so
wasn't.
I didn't watch it.
And we conversed, didn't we?
We did
Yes.
early on a Sunday morning with my
That's right.
sausages and my coffee,
That's right.
and I was getting quite perturbed about it.
You were.
Weren't quite sure what to do. But then I remembered
Yes.
that I had failed you the week before, and I'd only done half my homework.
Oh,
and
yes.
and the other half of the homework I had historically seen. So I revisited Parasite.
Now, did you watch the black and white version?
No, I tried to. I really wanted to, but I couldn't find it.
Right.
Again, I searched and I thought I can't do I can't do 2 films in 1 week. So I didn't. So I watched the colour version, and yeah, and I watched it.
Did
again
you spot
again
things that
today.
you hadn't spotted before?
Yeah, a little bit more. But weirdly, the kind of thing that happened, I got about halfway through, and then kind of thought, I don't remember how this ends. So
Oh,
yeah, so it was actually a really great
good.
film to revisit, and you have historically always watched films more than once.
Absolutely.
I haven't always kind of understood the benefit of doing that, and I clearly now absolutely understand the benefit of doing it.
It's weird that when you turn around to people and you go, I've watched that film 3 or 4 times, people go, why are you doing that for?
Yeah.
And then you have to explain that some films are so layered, and you get carried away with so many different things and subplots and characters and so on and so on, and you don't notice all the little Easter eggs, all the little clever little bits that people put in there for you.
So I went to my cousin's house at the weekend,
Right.
and we were talking about film,
Yeah.
and me and her have a very similar taste in film, and we were talking about the Andrew Scott film,
All of the Strangers.
All of the Strangers. And about the fact that I didn't get the twist, and she was just literally, she was like, "How did you not get the twist?"
Oh, really? So she agrees with
Oh,
me.
totally.
So I'm not making stuff up then. That's good.
No,
I'll take God for that.
but this is.
I am very aware that I
This
do
is
make
a
stuff up.
perfect example, especially like if you go to cinema on your own, or you don't tend to talk about the films that you see a lot. Sometimes going to see something for a second time makes you actually kind of sit back and go, right, now I get it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend seeing Men for a second time. But the majority of films that we've seen, I think you should definitely go and see for a second time.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, this is a film which I'm sure the majority of people have seen. It won a hatful of Oscars when it came out.
And deservingly so.
It was phenomenal. It's basically it's a proper them and us story of a very poor family who live in the slums of Seoul in Korea, and by chance there's a mother and a father and 2 quite older kids, so they're kind of like in their mid-20s.
They are.
And theme of the show weirdly. And anyway, so the son's friend has been a tutor for the daughter of this very wealthy family, and he asks the son of this family, the Kims, whether he could take over his job tutoring the daughter of this family, the Parks, while he goes away travelling, because when he comes back he wants to start dating this girl, and he trusts the brother, and I think probably also feels like the brother wouldn't have a chance with this girl while he's away. So the Park family are, by stark contrast, they live in a very, very beautiful modern house, and they've lived there for
You
4
couldn't
or
get
5
any more
years.
opposites, could you?
It's absolute polar opposites, and it's being set as this perfect kind of them and us scenario. So in this house, there are parents and there is younger daughter and son.
It's a beautiful modern house with loads of layers to it. And
It's built by
grass lawn.
built by an architect. And so also within the house is a housekeeper, and the son comes into the house and starts tutoring the daughter. And then it becomes apparent that the son, the young boy, is quite a disturbed young boy, and his art therapist can no longer work with him. So the son thinks, actually, this is a great way that we can pretend that my sister is an art therapist and get her into the house as well. And then, lo and behold, the whole family end up working.
It's not a dirty bottom of scoundrels.
It really is. I mean, and it is very, very kind of cheeky, and it is very, very kind of just like naughty. And so the family kind of all move into this really beautiful house and doing different jobs. So the dad becomes a chauffeur, and then by one way or another, which I won't say, the mother becomes the housekeeper, and they're all kind of living this kind of like new beautiful life, and it's almost like they've parasited themselves into this.
That's exactly
other house.
So. Yeah, it says what it says on the tin.
Exactly right, and then the story takes a bit of a weird twist when the original housemaid comes back to the house in the pouring rain and is buzzing on the door on the video buzzer, and we're going to leave the review of the film there.
I think so.
Because from then on it gets really interesting, and it's really good and really clever, really smart.
And what I love about this film, the pace of it is so alien to any normal Hollywood movie. It really gives you time to breathe and really gives you time to just go, I'm going to look at this scene for a bit and I'm going to contemplate it. She may be doing something on the sofa, but we can't talk about it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And also that it's very comedic.
Very funny.
But the comedy comes from a different culture, and therefore the comedy has a very different feel to it. It's a very polite comedy, even though the subject matter of the comedy isn't very polite. Yeah, and I loved it. I thought it comes across very elegant, and I really, really loved it.
One of my favourite scenes when they're all trying to get the signal through our mobile phones.
Oh right, yeah. And there's
and the water, it's just absolutely.
It's literally they, in their poorhouse, they are literally just trying to get by any means, aren't they?
And they're just on the edge of being scam artists. They're not quite, but they are. Does that make sense? So there's an element. What I love about them, it's not quite pantomime baddies.
No, but then also, James. Who are the baddies in this?
I know, exactly.
Because you're looking at two polar opposite kinds of people.
Yes, both with two different points of view about what is right and what's wrong.
You can really put your flag in the sand on either family being the goodies or the baddies.
Absolutely. Yeah, are they looked upon as home invaders, or are they looked upon as slaves and so on? There's lots of different elements. There's lots of layers to it. Very, very clever film.
Very political statement.
What have you given it?
I've given it a big old fat lady 0.0. It's 8.0.
8.0. Nice. That's a good
8.5
score.
on IMDb.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's a good score. Good.
So I'm guessing there's a lot of Jamesy type people giving it like big 9.5s.
Probably. And it's a Korean originally, and I'm already going to apologise for the pronunciation, but the Korean name for it is Kisancheng.
Oh, that sounded really authentic.
So apparently that's how you say parasite in
Thank you very
Korean.
much.
Kaching.
Kisancheng.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Syllable.
Kaching. That's what they were saying when it made them. Yes, Peter's downloaded it.
Yeah, exactly right. Absolutely. It's a really, really brilliant watch, and actually, it's a great streaming movie. There's no benefit of having seen it in the cinema. Nope. It is just a really, really great.
It doesn't need to be seen on the big screen either. I think it's just a very clever film.
What day of the week, Peter?
Ooh.
I think this spans the week.
Nice.
It's actually.
You can watch it on a Sunday afternoon quite easily.
Do you know what it is, mate? It's a must-watch. I think that's the way to put it.
Yeah.
Because if you've got an evening free, this is an absolute must-watch movie.
If you haven't seen it before,
it's brilliant.
Good. I'm really pleased you watched it again.
Yeah, loved it.
So,
the next James film is...
I am desperately trying to keep away from horror at the moment. Okay.
You haven't done very well.
I was going to say, are you sure about that?
But surely everything is slightly horrific. I mean, Parasite, that's got some horrific moments in it psychologically.
Any Given Sunday?
And
That's
physically.
quite horrific.
That's horrific. His shouting's horrific. So I'm gonna give you a movie that's won millions of awards, has accolade coming out of its every single orifice, and the reason why I'm so confident you're going to enjoy this movie is that if you've enjoyed Monkey Man, and I know you highlighted one or two clunky little elements with it. If you want to see it without the clunk, Old Boy is the way forward for you. Okay. It's been remade in an American version, so don't watch the American version. The American version's got Josh Brolin in it. It's okay, and to be fair, for an American remake, it did okay, but there's no need for it to be made. Just watch the original and read the subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. That's my homework for you.
This is my homework.
Is
Okay,
it-
so I thought you were about to go left field and say, but that's not your homework.
Yeah.
This horror show.
Is it the 2013 version?
I can't remember the exact year, but it
Did
is.
you say the one without Josh Brolin?
That's right.
Okay, that's the 2013 version.
Good. Okay.
But the point of this homework, and the reason we're talking about you are trying to avoid horror and and doing that is because we do want people to watch these films, don't we?
We do.
So, and ideally, our dream would be that when you set the homework,
Everybody